Open up your heart and we'll sing to you the song. Let the people will. Good morning, Celtic fans all around the world. How many people we've got online so far? Right, big news is this morning. Jeez, do we have people live? This is the question. Yes, there is. Right, perfect. Who's all in the house? If anyone, there's 22. Get some comments up. Let's go. The big news is this morning. We'll go to the Daniel Podence one first. Let's get some exciting news for Celtic fans this morning. Celtic are now in talks with Daniel Podence to come. Celtic is one that's been going around for about a week or so. He was kept out the team down at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and they're wanting 12 million for him, but Celtic are trying to get the price down due to the fact that he's not in the team and he's not been playing. He's had, obviously, the one cap for Portugal, and there's the football chat going already. It's nothing new. 8 days left of the transfer window. We need 4 or 5 players who are going to be first-team starters. Well, that's a definite. Morning, Frank. Morning, Tam. Good to see you in the house. Won't keep you all too long. Going to keep you around about 15 minutes this morning. Hail, hail, troops. Yep, good morning, Baz. Yes, please, can we have some positive news? Kaiser's in the house also. Right, the positive news this morning is, according to some journalists down south in England, Celtic are seeking Daniel Podence. He was left out the squad against Everton. In fact, the last time he played was against Everton in May. Looks like Celtic are trying to get this deal to go through. He's in the final 12 months of his 60 grand a week contract. It's understood that Real Betis and Everton are looking at him, but the fact that he can come straight into Celtic and play Champions League, the 27-year-old is looking at Celtic as an option. First of all, let's talk about the signings that we've had this summer. Right, we've got Gustav in the door at 3 million. We've got Odin in the door at 2.5 million. We've got Marco in the door at 2 million. We've got Yang in the door at 2 million. We've got Kwon in the door at 1 million. And then we've got Big Rocky in the door at 4.3 million. We also made Tomoki Awata. That deal, that was an option. It wasn't an option to buy. It was an obligation to buy. And his contract was also, but it's undisclosed what we actually paid for him. It's understood that Podence, if he comes in, will probably be the biggest signing this summer so far. There are journalists saying that it looks like he will lower his wage demands to get his move, which would be interesting. So it means that it could come to Celtic. So is that good news for us this morning? Because Celtic news, Podence would be a class addition. But in other Celtic news, Rio Hatate has seemingly, according to the Daily Hun and a few other publications are going with it, in a surprise turn of events, Rio Hatate has reportedly rejected a contract extension from Celtic. Not back the opportunity to extend his stay, but on the current deal ends in 2026. So there's still 3 years of his contract. Should Celtic sell him this summer? Has he down tools because he thought he was going to get a big move this summer? It was suggested last year that Rio Hatate was probably the one player that we thought we might lose this summer. Not Jota. And it turns out Jota's now a free agent because that homophobic country that he went to doesn't want him as a player, but never mind. I want to talk about that. I think we're struggling to clear the books and reduce the wage bill with players like Ajeti refusing to be paid off. That's hampering us when we bring in new players. Do you think so, guys? I don't think so. I don't think that wouldn't have been brought into the equation at all. We've needed these players off the books for a long time, and I think when they're budgeting, I don't think it would be an issue. Podence would be a class addition. I'm not getting my hopes up. Did Rodgers not say that we've not carried interest in Podence for us? No, basically what Rodgers said was he wasn't going to comment. He was basically saying, is there any update? He was asked. Rodgers was asked, is there any update on the Podence transfer? And he went, no. And that was it. He just said no. He never said anything else. So he just said no updates. So let's get to the big Rio story. Should Celtic sell Rio Hatate? Rio was fantastic for us the last couple of seasons. There's meant to be admirers from the Premier League sniffing about and Saudi clubs. Well, Saudi can come and take him as long as they pay the cash up front. He's been rotated with Rodgers with Turnbull. He's now injured, right? So this is the interesting point. He's turned down this contract offer allegedly. That's what we're talking about. Hatate's report to have turned down. Did you not watch the thumbnail? Anyway, Rodgers doesn't need his job due to the fact that a lot of fans didn't want him back. I can guarantee if it's not going well, he will walk away. Interesting. I don't think he will. I don't think Rodgers will walk away. I think Rodgers will be here for the 3 seasons. But that's just my opinion. There's a simple wage structure that Celtic aren't going to change, which means we need first team ready players to go straight into the team. We're not going to get first team ready players. Why would Podence be a good signing? 12 million at 60 grand a week. There's no chance we're going to pay 12 million, John, and there's no chance we're going to pay 60 grand a week to him. So I can't see that. You can't even get into a poor. There's negativity already from John. Anyway, let's move on. The fact that John Hartson has also been talking again, and he says, obviously, we've had Gustav in, we've had Rocky in, we've had Yang, we've had Kwon, with Odin, Marco. You know, there has been a lot of players that come in this summer, but you know, is the quality there? John Hartson said that the magic number of what would be perceived as an outstanding transfer window is for Celtic to bring in 3 more signings to take Celtic's tally up to 9. Did we really need 9 signings from last season's team? When you look back at last season, we didn't really kick a ball from March onwards. We didn't play the good football. We kind of sat back a bit. The team wasn't as free-flowing and attacking. Teams were sitting back. We were getting a bit lethargic, and there wasn't the movement that there was the first year round with Ange Postecoglou's team. There wasn't that movement up front. There wasn't that urgency to move the ball around. The players weren't moving around as much. Did the players know that Ange Postecoglou was going to leave? That's a different story altogether. Anyway, but the fact is that from March until the end of the league, we didn't play our best football. That has to be said. And especially after we won the league, we basically down tools because the manager changed the team so much. Kevin says, let's be honest, I don't see what's great about Hatate anyway. Everyone else's team seems to rave about him. Get him out the door, sell him. If he doesn't want a new contract, me personally, my own opinion is get him out the door as soon as possible. Don't wait till it's too late. And then get us in a Hatate's got a bad pass about him sometimes, right? And we need to get a player in the middle of midfield that is 100% committed. He's still got 3 years of his contract. Why not get a wage increase? Why not take the wage increase? It seems to me that behind the scenes he's trying to get out the door. And maybe that's why Rodgers has kept him at the team the first game of the season. He's went, well, if you think you're going to get a move, try and get your move. Do you know, he's probably sat down with him and he's went, and he's broken English. Yeah, I think I might get a move down south. And he's like, well, if you think that the grass is greener, if you ask any Leicester fan, they blame 100% for the relegation. It was a team full of class players, and he turned them into dross. Interesting. He was rancid against Bilbao. Yes, he was that. And he took off. Right, Hatate out, his transfer value will surely dip with his dwindling form. Should Hatate stay for this year's Champions League? This is the big question this morning. Should he stay and prove his worth to Celtic in the Champions League? Should we keep him? We don't have to sell him. He's got 3 years left in his contract. Is he a good enough player to say, right, let's get on with this. Let's make the move. John McVeigh is a Hun. Where's the Hun watchers? Yeah, let's just do it then. Well, he's gone now anyway. Lol. Right, anyway, I'm not taking any nonsense this morning. If we had a full squad to pick, I'm sure it'd be fine. But injuries, the squad are now threadbare. They are that. The squad is threadbare. But the question is, should we keep Hatate or should we sell him? Should we sell him in this window to maximise the profit for him? Or should we keep him and get him to prove he's worth. Yeah, we lose one game and it's doom and gloom. Well, it's not doom and gloom. The fact that the headline this morning is Rio Hatate has refused a new contract extension at Celtic. And we can only go with the stuff that's coming out of Celtic Park. The upside is Celtic are in talks with Daniel Podence, and people are saying that Daniel Podence isn't good enough. A Portuguese player that isn't good enough to come to Celtic. Well, the last Portuguese player that wasn't good enough for his first team. You remember that Jota couldn't even get into the team at Benfica. So people saying that, he can't even get into a poor Wolves team. Jota couldn't get into the Benfica team. So, we took a punt on Jota and he turned out all right. He turned out not too bad for us. And we got 25 million. Although the bigoted country that he went to doesn't like him. And it turns out that they want rid of him for reasons that we're not going to speak about because the Huns are doing enough talking about it. If Ange was to sign Podence, everyone would be spunking. They would that. And they would probably be going... Anyway, right. I think personally, I would bring back Jota. I don't think that was him. Hail, Paul. A few of the visits to the iPox really look soft. Good morning, Baz from Buenos Aires. It's fantastic. We're all around the world this morning. That's why I love the early morning lives. This week just gets worse. Hail, don't shut up. Right, there's not really much new. I mean, John Hartson says that we need 3 more players, and I believe that is correct as well. I think the window has been nothing short of... I mean, this is John Hartson's words. John says, the window has been nothing short of abysmal, with Jota going, Carl Starfelt and Aaron Moy retiring, and then we've brought in project players to replace them. Telling a punter to calm down for the time being, I disagree with it. I mean, the board and everything, and the manager, telling people that it takes time to get players in. Well, the last couple of seasons, it hasn't taken time to get players in. Alistair Johnson, we've been saying, is big miss. Carter Bicker's big miss. It's too early to say anything about Yang. I think he is going to be a decent player. Owen got an opportunity when he came on for Turnbull, but don't think we should be passing the panic button just yet. It costs money to find really good players. We've never spent, in my opinion, we've only spent decent money on 2 players this summer. So, I mean, when you look at the list of players that we've brought in, the ones that we've spent decent money on, right? You'd say Gustav, 3 million. Is it a project signing? He's in that age bracket, a project signing. Odin, another project signing, 2.5 million. Is Marco a project signing? I'm not really sure. He's came in at 2 million. He had a big reputation in Australia. He's never been fit yet. So he's came in, he's never been fit. Kwon, who knows about him as well? He's a 1 million signing, 2 million signing. The only one that's came in with any sort of pedigree seems to be Rocky, 4.3 million. So the money that was spent so far hasn't been too good. We didn't need to bring in a lot of squad players. We didn't need to look at squad players. Get Ozzy Aaron Moy out of retirement. Due to his bad back, that's why he retired. He still had another year. You've got to remember, Aaron Moy was a player that still had a year to go on his contract. He decided to retire due to his fitness. We need to stop this. We need a goalkeeper. It's not going to happen, right? We're not going to get a first-team goalkeeper that's going to out Joe Hart. Celtic are not going to do it. For whatever reason, right? We need to stop this. We need a goalkeeper because it's not going to happen. Celtic are not going to spend money on a goalkeeper that's going to oust Joe Hart this summer. That is obvious, right? That is more than obvious. I think if we were going to do that, we should have done it at the beginning of the window. Joe Hart, they're now talking about the fact that Joe Hart might get another year added on to his contract at the end of this one. And the manager has said it all comes down to family situation because his family's seemingly still down in England, even though he's been up here for now. This is his 3rd season. So that says it all. I mean, Joe Hart wasn't looking at this as a long-term plan. The fact that he's not brought his family up, he's obviously kept him down in England and he travels up and down. We're not going to get a new goalkeeper this window, right? So, we need a proven striker. Yes, you're right. We need a proven striker. That's priority. We need a new striker in that can take the weight of Kyogo, that can play the system that Brendan wants. Bring in Kyogo. We're going to get into tactics now. Anyway, right, let's get to some more of the comments. We need a more international style manager who has info on foreign markets. I don't think that's necessarily the case, because we have a system at Celtic where they scour the world for players, and it's then up to the manager to decide which one of the players he fancies the most. So if you're getting a list of players from 5 different countries, and the best player is actually somebody that Brendan knows that's probably played in the English Premiership, we've done not too bad with Sinclair before. Everybody said that Sinclair wasn't Celtic standard, and he came in, and goals changed attitudes. Goals from players change attitudes. Sinclair came in and then had a fantastic little career at Celtic. So, we're all jumping to the gun. Is it the fact that Celtic fans now just need to sit back, have a bit of a reality check? Rio Hatate has turned down this offer. He has 3 years left on his contract. We do not need to sell him. If he wants a shot at the Champions League, he needs to stay with Celtic. There is not going to be a Champions League club coming for Rio Hatate this summer. Fact. There will not be. There will not be a club where he can go, right, I'm going to play the Champions League this year with this club. It will not happen. I can assure you that. You're going to get a lower league team down in England, or maybe Ange might come in for him, but you're never going to get a Champions League team. He needs to stay at Celtic this season. We can sell him at Christmas. We could sell him. We're not going to sell him at Christmas. We could sell him in the summer, right? He needs to stay here and make sure that he ups his game, knuckles down, gets on with it. He was offered a wage increase. That was it. And the chance to stay an extra year. If he doesn't want the wage increase, he's now then trying to manufacture should check out the Benfica B team. Yeah, we should, because that's where we got Jota from. We got Jota from the B team. People saying that, Podence isn't Celtic class. He can't even get a game for Wolves. Jota couldn't get a game for Benfica. He was playing in the B team. Calm down, people. Right? Maybe the Celtic fans just need a bit of a reality check. And the type of players that we're going to get in has to improve. Even the manager says that. We now need in quality. The fact that if he has turned down this improved deal, it does now put a question mark over will he stay at the club this summer, and that is going to happen. If he leaves the club before this transfer window, I've been saying for weeks now, we need somebody in the middle of midfield. We need someone that's got a bit of beef about them in midfield that can, so if Hatate does go, he's not a big loss. He's not a big loss at all. And that is the worrying thing, that if we do sell him, and if the club do decide to sell him, because let's face it, the club love that bit of cash, and the money that if fans will go into absolute meltdown if we sell Hatate for 20 odd million plus, right? If he leaves for 20 plus million this window, that means Celtic will have made an absolute bucket load of cash. You're talking over 50 million in transfers, right? 55 million in transfers, and we've spent peanuts. Absolute peanuts. We take 2 steps forward as a club. We always take 2 steps forward in a club, right? And 2012, we should have stood on the throat of a club, and we never. And, Brendan Rodgers came back, and we all said, yeah, he's came back. Bag of cans, bag of cash, bag of cans. I think Rio will wait until January at least, says Paul. Some sensible comments started coming. Let's be deadly honest here. The end of Brendan Rodgers' last stint was flat and horrible. You've got to ask why, Keith. No, that's the wrong comment. It wasn't. It was Vinny. Vinny, you've got to be honest, right? And ask why that happened. Brendan wanted in McGinn, and we let McGinn go south. Morning, Helen. How are you? We let McGinn go south. Brendan wanted in a certain quality of players. And this is all factual. I'm not making this up. Brendan wanted a certain quality of players, and Lowell basically wasn't willing to pay the money. We all know what happened again. I mean, if Lowell phoned McGinn when he was halfway down the motorway to England to try and get him to come back. Nonsense. Do you know? We went flat for a reason, because the manager then told the board, they said, right, I'm going to leave this summer. We'll put things in place for me to leave this summer. And when Leicester came sniffing, Lowell went, right, I want the 10 million. There you go, out the door. But people don't believe it. People don't believe it. So what can I say? If people don't believe what you say, well, everybody's got their own opinion on what happened the last time. Morning Troop says, Ali, we need a midfielder with real dig, a real centre forward. But Joseph, we're not going to get a goalkeeper. People, Celtic fans need to... we need a reality check here. Celtic are not going to go out... We're only going to bring a keeper in if Benjamin Siegrist goes out on loan. That's the only way we're bringing in a keeper, right? We're not bringing in a keeper. So stop this nonsense. And I'm seeing it on all the social media platforms. We need a keeper. We need a keeper. We are not going to spend money on a keeper. For whatever reason, we're not spending money on a keeper. We give Bain a 3-year contract. Bain should never have been given a 3-year contract, if you ask me. Anyway, in other news, it looks like we're still after the Newcastle player. Oh, just to make it even better for you this morning. Yeah, it looks like we're still trying to get the Newcastle player in. Ex-Aberdeen player who's on absolutely crazy money. Absolutely crazy money down in Newcastle. But will he take a jump? Will he take a jump and come to Celtic? And he's not even got a squad number. So as a player that Ryan Fraser, I mean, we've all said he's not Celtic standard at all. And if that's the road we're going down, but then with the fact that Podence is in talks with Celtic, it could be the fact that he doesn't get anywhere near. Well, we don't go anywhere near the Newcastle player. So there is a lot of news kicking about this morning with regards to Rio Hatate. You know, the situation does depend on a couple of scenarios. It depends if anyone comes in for him, and it depends if Celtic want to accept the offer, right? Celtic don't need to sell him this summer. That's the thing that we need to keep in mind, right? If Hatate was really unhappy with the terms of the deal that he was offered, right, and the contract, right, he would then be looking to move on. And he said in the summer that he wasn't looking to move on this year. He was looking forward to the Champions League, right? The fact that he said that, I'm going to stand by his words. And maybe he doesn't want a new contract offer. Maybe he does want a move. Maybe he wants to play in the Champions League and then try and show as Fraser not a Celtic player for Celtic. No, he's not, Paul. And the fact that I think what we're going for Podence, Daniel Podence, is probably a godsend. Joe Hart is a legend. Took a pay cut to come to us. He's a Celt, says, because you got to remember, Joe Hart took a massive pay cut, right? Joe Hart came to Celtic for 15 grand a week. Right? He could have came to Celtic and commanded 25, 30 grand a week easily. But he took a massive pay cut to come to Celtic because he knew he had chances of winning trophies, and he knew he had a chance to play in Europe for that last chance in his career. So given Hart, I mean, we all know Hart's got some dodgy kickouts, and you know, Celtic seem to have stopped this passing about the back as much. That's because nobody else wanted him. We bought him for £1 million, Vinny. We paid Spurs £1 million for him. So, you know, somebody had to come in for an offer with him. He could have stayed at Spurs. Imagine that. And then he would have still met up with Ange. Down the line, the board, muddy water, seem to be deep. Can we have faith? You know what I mean? Injuries are a problem. Yes, Ali, injuries are the massive problem at Celtic right now. And it is. Sausage jockey gets his jaws from Saudi. And there's a zombie in the house. And he's gone. See, this is the kind of thing that they come out with. You know, calling Jota a sausage jockey. It's 2023. Get over it. Do you know how bigoted are you? you know, you're just, thank God I don't stay in Scotland anymore. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to wind the video up because, you know, when they start their nonsense like that, it's just not worth it. You know, absolute clowns. So the big news is the fact that Rio Hatate hasn't agreed a new contract, and we're getting Daniel Podence. We're in talks with Daniel Podence. And on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party.